Hello there, my beautiful and lovely gamers, and my name is Jonal. Today we are talking about why we blame the DPS heroes in Overwatch for losing our rank games. And there are reasoning behind this. Of course, it's not only the DPS that gets blamed, but why a lot of time that's what gets blamed. And why, you probably experienced this if you ever played DPS, that even though you're doing good, you get blamed anyway. So, right before we start, there won't be any streams this weekend or week in general because, one, Bebo, the streaming software I used to do, decided that, hey, we're just gonna stop being a streaming software and start doing Fortnite tournament instead. So yeah, I had to set up a new streaming software, which I haven't been around to. Two, I'm busy with university work still. Yeah, believe it, dude. Like, I'm getting just like hail with assignments. And three, I have a lot of people that want private coaching, and I need to prioritize those right now since I haven't been prioritizing those for a long time due to my schoolwork. So it's just that I need to kind of just like take a break from university right now, kind of stop the bleeding on my university work. And so no streaming this week. We will be back on Monday, hopefully, as always, 6 p.m. Next week. So. Why DPS is blamed? I remember there was a time, I think around season 1, season 2, and so on, that it was actually quite opposite. It was the supports that got blamed for a lot of stuff. It might just be me that did that, but I'm 99% sure that there was a much more aggressive tone towards a lot of support players. That, you didn't heal enough. I remember me and a bunch of people that I used to play with, we didn't want Ana players on our team because we were afraid that the Ana players was not going to hit us, right? They were not going to be able to aim well enough to actually heal us, and definitely rather wanted the Mercy because the Mercy had no like inconsistency in her hitting us with the healing, right? So I remember there was a tone that happened then, and I remember a clip which I've been trying to find on YouTube, but I can't find it. It's a really old clip. I've been googling and searching all kinds of search traces, where there's like it's Gibraltar, it's like first point defense. There's a McCree that's like far in the enemy backline behind a bunch of walls. He dies. Of course, no one can heal him. No one can help him. He's all alone. I think it was McCree at least. And he's like, why didn't you heal me? And I remember that I feel that there was a shift in the community. That was like, okay, we gotta stop blaming the supports. It's not the support's fault. They're trying their very best. Both DPS players and support players, really was like, dude, we're trying this, we're doing this is what is happening. You guys are blaming us for no reason. People are being toxic on the support players. And also because people wanted other people to try to pick up supports. Logically, because we were lacking supports in the game generally. People started becoming far more friendly towards support players. And logically, then it was shifted towards the bad guys, the DPS players, the guys that was putting out a lot of the blame. Because a lot of time that's what happens. The tanks and supports blame the DPS for not doing their job, and the DPS blames the supports for not healing them enough, for sometimes the tanks for not healing for them, right? That's a lot of time what happens. What we then also kind of see is there are some logical reasons to blame DPS, right? The DPS is one, it's your playmaker, it's your fragger, and if you don't see any visual frags, right, then you're like, oh, there's nothing I can do, right? We need the damage, we need the kills, and especially like if you pick Widowmaker and you don't feel if one guy on your team picks Widowmaker and he doesn't land a lot of shots, then you gotta be like, okay, the Widowmaker is actually not doing anything. It's also very easy to punish DPSs, so if a DPS goes in alone or go in front or something, it's much easier for the enemy team to punish and kill him really fast than yours. And because they hold, in some team composition at least, they hold majority of your damage output. Like if you lose your Tracer or you lose your Hanzo early game, it's like, well, there goes majority of all our DPS, and we don't have damage right now, so the enemy team can legitimately tank us in certain team compositions, especially like if you play goats and the Junkrat, your defensive Junkrat get caught out, right? Then you lose so much damage. It's like, okay, we can't kill their tanks anymore. Like we are gonna get rolled over. So that's some, of course, of the issue that you are expecting a lot more for DPSs. On top of that, blaming the DPS, it's like there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people that play DPS, and there's a lot of impact on them and so on. And therefore, the reason that there's so many DPSs is, of course, yes, they have a lot of impact. Yes, they're fun to use and so on. I also think that there's a lot of other categories with fun heroes, but there's just such a big hero pool of DPSs. So therefore, it's much easier. If you also think statistic-wise, let's say that there's, for all the DPS heroes, that is played in the meta, right? That you get one of those bad compared to, a Ryan one-trick, or a main tank guy, or a tank guy, right? Or a support guy, right? Which have a way smaller roster. There are going to be fewer players playing these, so hopefully more of these are going to be harnessed. That's also, kind of like a back logic. Personally, I've always said this. Stop fucking blaming people in your rank games. If you blame people in your rank games, you're never gonna rank up. You need to never expect your team to do anything. Your team is for you a mere little help tool, a mere like distraction. You need to carry. Especially the lower elo you are, the more hard that you need to carry, right? Because the easier it should be for you to carry if you just get good enough, just to say it like that. But blaming your team is reducing your way of improvement. You're not improving if you blame anyone. If you blame the DPS or the tanks or support, you're not improving. It's good that if you know that your Widowmakers are not hitting any shot, and I'm not saying that you think, I mean you know, you have been speccing him and just seeing him missing all kinds of shots. He never gets any kills and whatever. Don't tell him, don't tilt them. Just note, okay, my Widowmakers are not landing any shots. I need to take that into consideration how I play. And also remember that what I see a lot of time, and that happens in most elos, but especially towards the lower elo, is that people have absolutely no game sense. So people don't notice the kill feed. And an example for that is I've been playing in silver. I'm Grandmaster, and I played Hanzo. Of course, I was just jumping around fucking destroying the enemy team. And as soon as we lost one team fight, immediately I got blamed. And it's like I'm sitting there, you know, with fucking 2-3 times as many limbs as the guy with silver. I have more damage than my entire team, you know, combined. I'm shredding people. I'm a Grandmaster playing in silver. What were you expecting was gonna happen, right? But I still got blamed. And it made no sense, right? Like, why? And it's like, what? And that happens a lot, and I see that a lot of times. I also see that when I private coach people in low elos, that they're like, Genji, you're feeding, and I'm just saying, they're like, dude, he's actually doing good. Like, yeah, he could improve, and all these mistakes that I pointed out to him, but he is not the reason that you guys are losing these team fights. A lot of people like to point fingers and just do the same thing over again. The Ryan will run down main and die immediately and then blame the DPS and then eat, sleep, repeat that until he loses the game. Instead of thinking, okay, maybe running down main, like not done it twice, maybe I should try another strategy instead of doing it one more time and just feeding once more. Either because your DPSs are actually not good enough to follow up on that, maybe your strategy and what you are doing is not a good play and you should stop trying to just expect that, oh, I'm creating a lot of space, where's my Widowpicks, You don't know what's going on in the backline. The same goes for the support. They don't know what's going on the screens of your other teammates, and you can't know that. Even in Grandmaster, I see people that doesn't understand what their team is doing, that they just yell out insults and continue doing their own thing. And that's really what I want to get across today. Blaming your teammates, well, of course it makes sense to blame the DPS because he's the playmaker. He should be visually doing a lot of stuff. There should be so much active and so on. He should be so active. While that is to some extent true, you also need to, you know, okay, you don't know his monitor, you don't see his monitor, and trust me, you are not catching everything. I've been seen multiple times where it's like, you know, there's someone there's like a Moira that gets a 5k and you just see in the background like a tracer that did 90% of the damage. The Moira just sent in an orb and last hit it, which is good. And of course the tracer's getting flamed for not getting enough kills. So all of this happens, and I don't think it's good. I understand, I hope that it's kind of like why we blame the DPSs. It makes sense to a certain extent, but it's also really fucking stupid to blame anyone, and especially the DPS, because again, you don't know what's going on anyone's monitors. That's really all I want to cover in today's video. I hope I see you guys very soon. I love you guys very much. Please stay positive and take care of yourself, okay? My name's Jonal. You guys, please keep the enemy in your crosshair.